All right, welcome back to the Tactical Games Podcast. This is our first one in a while, so thank you guys for waiting patiently. We were wrapping up the end of the year and had a lot of things going on, so we're happy to be back and going to try to get back to regular periodicity in 2023, so thank you guys all for hanging out. First things first, let's talk about favorite moments from the 2022 season. Jake, why don't you go ahead and lead it off for us?
Okay. Man, I'd probably say, one of my favorite events of the year probably had to be the Rattler Event here during Nationals, the 30, 40, 50. Between having 120 people do it at one time and basically just one mass flowing heat, and once we press go, man, that thing didn't stop. I'm pretty sure I'm the only person that had fun during that 2 hours, but I don't think I had a smile come off my face the entire time. But as far as like overall overarching event, I'm going to say Oregon. It was far for us to get there. There was a lot going on that week. Me and you had some adversity. We didn't feel very good that week. And that was a really fun event. The weather was a little hot for Bend, but kind of hot. It was like 100 degrees out there.
We had a tornado rip through halfway through the day.
It was a cool experience, all in all. Oregon was a really cool experience. There was just a lot going on, and we made a cool event happen. So
I will say the execution of the Rattler event was pretty impressive. There's a lot of people going through the same thing really fast, so I think that went off pretty well.
Big thank you to the 4 ladies and the one dude that came up here and helped set the gym. I'm not going to name all the names right now, but they're the ones that came and made this place look that nice and had everything spaced out perfectly and cleaned and did the whole 9 yards and set up the barrier with the box. Like it was absolutely phenomenal. So if you're part of that crew, thank you.
Yeah, the staging, everything. The volunteers did a great job there.
When I came in and saw it fully done, like it was moving. Seriously, it was really cool looking in here. So I appreciate that if you were a part of that crew. Thanks.
Awesome. Jared, what about you? Favorite event of last year?
I would say like as a total event, probably the partner. In West Virginia. It was just a lot of fun. The intensity is down quite a bit. I mean, I don't think I've probably competed with the intensity that I have in the past this year, but the West Virginia, it was just like the year before. You know, it was just having fun was a priority, not so much everybody out there trying to win. So. My partner's slightly retarded. But besides that, it was pretty fun.
If you just put a Reese's at the end of the thing for him, he's golden. He just needs to see that orange.
I've seen like 2 people ever row at that speed, and he skied at the fastest
at that speed.
I've ever seen.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I tricked him a few times over the weekend. A 300-pound bag. I was like, yeah, we'll do it together. And then second time we went for it, I just patted him on the back and walked off. And then running up the hill with the bag, I was like, yeah, man, we'll switch halfway. And I made sure that I wasn't around for the switching. So,
if you run fast enough, he has to catch up to you to give it to you.
So, it was a good time. So that event, and then as a particular stage, probably the run at Nationals was good. Going into it, I didn't know if I was going to be out. I was just trying to get through the day to make it to the next day because I felt like if I made it to the next day, I'd be able to finish the weekend. So I was kind of worried about it, and then being able to go through it, and then the terrain was really cool to run through. I know some people didn't really like the mud and stuff, but I thought it's something that we hadn't done before or yet. Running by a rattlesnake is that's always good, and then. The terrain, taking off the ruck and then coming back, Nick, I know that we talked about it, but when you're sitting there running and then you take, however much weight it was off your back, you feel like, you have wings for the first mile or 2, and then reality sets back in that it's not.
Unless you're Hepner.
Flying. Yeah.
He freaking ran faster with his ruck on than he did without his ruck.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
The way back was pretty. The temperature differences, I don't know if you've experienced it, but it rained and you would cool down and then it would stop raining and it would just, the humidity was through the roof and it was only 80, 85 degrees, but then it would get super hot, and then you'd get chills for some reason, and it was a different experience for sure. So then when it was supposed to be 8 miles and I was still running at 8 miles and like nowhere close to the end, that was pretty cool too.
So, look at that.
But no, I didn't know that there's, I live 15-20 minutes away. I've never been there before. I've been on the lake, but I didn't realize that the terrain was so different around the lake.
So how technical was that compared to something that we've done in the past?
I wasn't at the one that was in Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, straight up the hill, dude. That one.
I wasn't at that one, but I heard that one was real bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
But the one that we had done in Florida in 2019 after the hurricane was by far the worst one.
2020?
Or 2019.
19 is
2020, yeah.
2020.
Nationals 2020.
Yeah,
12-mile run.
Nationals 2020. And I think I lost like 4 toenails. I had conversations with Ben Brown that I don't remember, and it was like that was too much, to be honest with you. But it's a memorable thing, right? Nobody's ever gonna forget it. But it was a lot, but it wasn't near as hard. It wasn't just the extra 4 miles in 2020. It was hot and humid, and then every time your feet got dry, you went through ankle deep water and mud again, and had a ruck the entire time, not just part of the time. But I guess, people look at the tactical games from the outside and they just see like these hulking guys that are 6 foot, 6'5", whatever. And there's not too many competitions out there that have the feats of strength, and you have to go that far.
Sure.
And
look at the podium finishers in several events. You have some that are 6'4" and some that are 5'7" on the same podium at the same event.
Yeah. So anyway, I think it just shows like you can't be a one-trick pony, and I think a lot of focus gets put on the strength, but the endurance aspect of really the strength only keeps you out of one round of one event.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
So that's like 3 or 4% of the total weekend.
Yeah.
Whereas like at Nationals, the run was its own event. There was no shooting. So it was just a pure how fast could you run the stage. So anyway, for me that
it's because you're a good runner. That's why it's your
obviously
favorite.
Your favorite.
I liked it, to be honest with you. And then Zach, he liked it a lot. And I slow rolled putting my shoes back on at the end to go back to find him because I was convinced he was
going to have another IV.
Yeah. So slow rolled that, and luckily he pulled up right before I pretended like I cared enough to go back. So.
I wasn't getting off the ground at all at the end of that event. I was waiting until the absolute last minute.
I have a video of Jacob. That is, you know how talkative Jacob is after stuff, right?
Never heard of him.
Yeah. Never heard of this guy. He's sitting on the ground, dead silent, looking dead straight, drinking a water, and he is in another dimension. It's hilarious. That video might surface up, bud, at some point. You don't even know if you know about it at this point.
For events, though, I definitely the team event is always great. So super excited that we're doing 2 of those next year. I think that's a really cool opportunity. We had talked internally about some of the divisions for some of the groups, and I know there was interest from some of the elite athletes in doing a co-ed elite division.
Yep. Co-ed elite.
So I think we're going to see that probably pop up in the West Virginia event next year, which will be the second team event, which hasn't been announced yet, but will be announced here shortly, probably by the time this podcast airs. Outside of that, an individual stage that I really enjoyed this year. The addition of the chain was pretty interesting.
Oh yeah,
the chain yoke. That was so
everybody blames me for this, but I wonder who sent me that photo. I made it, but who sent me the photo?
I don't know. Never met the guy. But it was funny watching people pick it up and go super fast and then just get their shit rocked even by a lighter weight. And then it was cool. It was a cool addition. Nationals, the 24-minute stage though. Those of you that were around for it at the end of the night,
that was cool.
The light was starting to set, and we had a conversation as a group, and Jake brought us all together and said, sun's going down, lighting conditions are going to change. We're going to light the targets and then light the field. If the rest of the heats agree, we're going to get this done, and we got it done, and it was pretty cool to finish that stage out underneath the sun setting and the.
That was neat.
I did have to switch from like clear to sunglasses, but outside of that, it was cool to be finishing the second half of that 24 minutes with the truck lights all around us, and that was really cool. So I really enjoyed that one a lot. All right, let's move on to 2023. So let's talk about some of the updates that are happening next year. So the first thing that we announced was the monthly physical challenges. So every month we're going to have one of those going on. That was definitely Jared's brainchild, something that we really like, a way to get all the community together, talking, pushing one another. I don't know, you want to touch on that a little bit, Jared?
No, I mean, it's just a way, the way that the events are spread out, across the country. Not everybody has a way to stay engaged with the community throughout the entire year. Maybe you get a chance to hit one or two that come close, or come volunteer and then hit another one. But it's a way that every month you're able to keep engaged in the community and keep having something to do every month. And soon there will be a scoreboard added to the website where you can go in and log your score in and then see how you're ranking compared to everybody else that did the workouts. The workouts will be done in a way that you can do it in a measurable, verifiable, repeatable way. So it is, in typical tactical games programming, it's done in a way that's either you did it or you didn't do it, right?
Sure.
So it's not like, man, you got to depth or you didn't get to depth, or this guy didn't do this and this guy did it's just, did you get over it or did you not get over it? Did you carry it this far or did you not carry it that far? So I think, a lot of the stuff around online workouts usually goes south when you're starting to incorporate movements where it's like, did you lock out at the top of this? Or did you? And, we go out of our way to make sure that doesn't hinder the fun of a competition where is this rep this or is this rep that? It's just, there's very easy things that can be repeated. And it's very easy to verify that it got done, right?
Sure.
Like the only mistake that could be made is you're supposed to do 10 and you did 9.
Right.
Something like that.
Right.
But that to add on to that, there's fitness and shooting. So we are about to add in monthly live fire challenges as well, where we will demonstrate what it is, launch it, then you have a week, 2 weeks. I haven't really decided. I think 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weekends is what we talked about.
Correct.
Two weekends to, there's going to be things that you're going to have to do, measure out from the target, do all these other deals, submit a video unedited, all of those good things, and see how you're stacking up. And there's going to be, prizes for the people that do the best, stuff like that. And I think that's just, it's another way to keep pushing the pace. You get a chance to see where you stand. There's some people feel that we're a bunch of fitness gurus that can't shoot. So you'll be able to see how, you'll be able to do the drill at home and see how you can stack up against somebody who's running these drills. The top guys and gals that are out there competing, what their times are on these drills and what their times are fitness-wise, and then you can get a grasp on how you stack up. And it's also going to be a good way for new people to figure out what division they need to be competing in.
Sure.
That's good.
So,
yep.
I think you made a great point there, and something that we've talked a lot about, internally, is the competitive advantage that can be gained in the shooting aspect and getting to the range and how important that is, and the difference between 4 additional hits in a single stage. I mean, you're talking about 40 seconds worth of fitness. You can make up a lot of time by being a good shooter.
So what people don't realize,
it's my dad's birthday. I gotta go.
Bye. So one thing that you guys may not realize is, like just Nick was saying, if you guys get 4 more hits in a stage, that's 40 seconds. So if me and Nick are competing against each other and I get 4 more hits than him, I can be 40 seconds slower on the physical portion of it. So I can finish the stage 40 seconds behind Nick and we will equal out because I shot 4 shots better than him. So really, if I get 30 seconds behind him and I shot 1 shot better or 4 shots better than him, then I win by 10 seconds or 1 hit. So
No, that's an excellent point, and something that I think is commonly misunderstood about our sport and about the things we have going on in general. So the live fire challenges will be announced. Our first one's going to actually drop I think this podcast will come out tomorrow. So the first one will drop tomorrow. But if you're listening to this, you're probably going to see the video.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, make sure you're going and checking out those live fire challenges.
So a part of that will be, and we'll just go through some of the details of that. You're going to have to show the distance you are from the target, from your target stand. We are going to have targets that you will print out. So you're going to have to use our target that'll have a very specific size. But those will be a PDF that we'll send out to people and have it available either on a website or something you'll pull it from. Other than that, it's just going to be, like Jared said, a constant video. The first one we talked about will be a little bit more simple.
Yep.
Kind of really short, easy to get used to, easy to get used to the format, and then we'll start expanding upon it from there, making it more technical, and
Sure.
we'll progress that shooting challenge as it goes on.
So for the physical challenges, what are those called? I don't know if we went over that.
Sorry. So for those of you guys that don't know, let's talk a little bit
We
about
got to back
physical
up, I think, 2
challenges.
steps right here, and then we go back to where we were.
So the physical challenges. This was the brainchild of a guy that's been in the community for a very long time.
Yeah.
His name's David Terrio. He is actually going to be heading up our Friday Night Lights program. For those of you that don't know, again, what we're really trying to do is increase the community aspect of the sport, meaning we want people training together. We want people getting together and working out together. We want people shooting together. Mm-hmm. Friday Night Lights is an opportunity for gyms, affiliates, anybody that might have a space. There's going to be weekly programming that's given out. So it's going to be one workout, probably done on Friday, but ideally sometime during the weekend. That workout's going to be given out, and we're going to have a leaderboard on the website as well. So that'll be another leaderboard that we have on the website. People can go and see how they're stacking up against other people that are doing these workouts.
So then where can they find out how to sign up for all this stuff?
Yeah, so we'll have all the Friday Night Lights information will be available through David right now, but we'll have access to all that stuff on the website as well. So at David T at the Tactical Games is the email that you can use to get more information about that. It is a paid program, and the intention behind that, David can tell you all about it. He owns an affiliate in Louisiana. He hosts Friday Night Lights events. I'm sure a lot of you guys that are in and gals that are in Louisiana have been to one of them. They're pretty cool. It's just a group of 20
I
to
want to
30
go to
people.
one of his with that big old
Dude,
gym
they
he's
just
got.
throw
It
down.
sounds like really fun. It looks really fun, the videos he puts out.
You get,
That's
like-
not just spicing it up. It really actually looks
You
fun.
get 30
so.
people out there, like all of a sudden, when I'm sitting here and I'm doing bags over a bar by myself, like, oh my God, this shit sucks. If I'm doing it with 20 other people, it's not so bad, right?
Nick calls me and is like, hey, you want to do this workout? I'm like, nope. Nope, because it's just me and you there. Sorry. If it was like 15 other people at the gym, I'd easily go do it.
So we're really excited about that. That's going to be a cool thing that the people in the community will be able to get involved in.
So that's Friday Night Lights. One more time, if you're some type of CrossFit affiliate or CrossFit gym, or even if you have a bunch of stuff in your garage and you want to be one of these Friday Night Lights affiliates, get in contact with David.
Yep.
And he will work with you through all that to make sure that you're squared off and ready to go.
And the Friday Night Lights physical challenges will be
Yes.
an aspect of that as well. So you will see those workouts on the last Friday
Yep.
of every month. We're going to keep that periodicity. The live fire challenges are going to be over the first 2 weekends.
Correct.
Of the month, but the physical Friday Night Lights physical challenges will be on the last weekend of every month. That'll be like if you have a workout for that Friday, it might be the first 4 to 7 minutes of it are that challenge, and then you'll move into something
Gotcha.
else. Because those are longer format workouts generally.
Yeah,
around the-
usually it's like an hour, right? Or 45
I've
minutes.
seen them 20 minutes all the way up to 45 minutes
Got
or
it.
an hour, depending on. But they do get capped out. I think longer movements, more methodical, not sprints.
Right.
Kind of drawn out.
Right.
A great way to train, honestly. It's a good way to get volume in without heavy repetitions. So.
Sure. So that's 2 things that are coming out here
Yep.
in the next week and a half. We
Yep.
think we have one more, right?
Yeah. So Jake's super excited about this one.
I'm very excited about this one.
So I know there's been some chatter. I think some people have kind of gotten wind of it, but we are going to be changing up what used to be known as the Skirmish program and switching over to Training Day. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Jake?
So Tactical Game Skirmish, let's just back up a little bit. Tactical Game Skirmish used to be what we call a skirmish, one-day competition. There were affiliates that were kind of spread out all across the nation. One issue that we found as far as like the staff goes is there was no cohesiveness between us and them, and then any of them between each other.
Right.
So we would get a bunch of questions in to info at or my email, your email about round count. What do they need to bring? Specific type of gear. Do they need to have lights? Like there's a bunch of stuff that it was really hard for us to answer those questions, just to be honest. But on the flip side, starting in June, I changed my skirmish in Texas here over to kind of this format to where we're essentially doing more training than we are competition. So the first 3 hours-ish of the day, from about 8 to noon-ish. I know it's 4 hours. Don't put that in the comments. I know how to do math.
There we go.
That was mine. Let's mute Jared's.
Yeah, there you go. That's mine.
That's yours.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that was.
There we go.
All right. We'll figure it out. So for the first 20, 30 minutes, I go over everything that's going to be for a new shooter. If you're the first time at a tactical games, what do you need to know, right? What do you need to know to show up to check-in? So we go over all that stuff, athlete numbers, squatting, what do you need to bring to check-in, muzzle devices, all that good stuff. Then the next block is a warm-up. We warm up here at the gym before we get started, so we do a shooting warm-up. We do a specific warm-up that will be repeated every time you go out. Now, what will change is the next 3 things we'll be doing every day is a type of drill, right? So some of the drills we've done in the past, if you've been at some of my training days in the past, previously known as a skirmish, if you've been to those, you've maybe done a drill where we try to break the first shot in under 10 seconds, and really we do it under 8 seconds at mine. Why do you need to know that? Come to a training day and we'll tell you, or a TGU or the athlete camp, and we'll let you know why. But that's a big thing, right? So that was one of the drills we worked on. Then we worked on breaking multiple cadence shots accurately, and then how to know whenever I'm becoming inaccurate because I'm shooting too quickly, stuff like that, right? So we went away from the competition side of it, and the reason why we did that is we would have a lot of people show up that wanted to do this, but were very intimidated because they have no idea what to do, no idea what's going on. And yes, even though it's supposed to be a local one-day competition that is supposed to be less stressful, right, than a big weekend, it was still very stressful for some people. And we got a lot of messages and emails in that's I'm just not going to go. I just don't know what to do. I'm not going to go. So this is a way for us to really break it down for folks and teach people from the ground up, but also the folks that are already in the sport. If you're frustrated about specific things after a weekend, man, my X was bad, right? Or I didn't know how to do this well. Whatever this is, we probably have gone over it, or we probably will go over it in these training days. So if you're in the area of a training day, or it's like a day's travel to get to, we highly suggest you do it. So we'll have all that information coming out shortly on I believe the training Instagram.
It'll be on the training Instagram, which was formerly the TTG.training Instagram.
Correct.
Is where it'll be.
If you are following the TTG Skirmish Instagram page, go follow the TTG.training page, and you'll get all your information you need to know there. If you are an affiliate,
don't delete the Skirmish page though. We'll touch on that in a little bit. Don't unfollow that one yet.
We're getting there. Don't jump ahead. We're getting there. Don't follow that. But if you are, if you own a range or a part of a range, and you think that you might want to be an affiliate of the training days, Tactical Games training days, you'll shoot me directly an email, jake@thetacticalgames.com. I'll go over with you what all that's about. Just like it is for the Friday Night Lights affiliates, this one is a paid program because we are doing a lot of stuff and giving back to the community a lot, and it's going to be really cool. I really want you guys to be a part of it if you are in a range or have the ability to do so.
And the other thing that you didn't touch on yet is after those training blocks, you are going to have an opportunity to run a stage. But you'll have built a foundation that you'll be able to run a stage off of. When we talk about fitness, we see it all the time. We see people come in, they start training, they immediately want to throw weight on, and they have now built a foundation of in this case, shooting on a complete pile of shit underneath it, right? I've seen it. I did it. I was part of my fitness journey. I wanted to lift heavy. I wanted to just do things that other people were doing. I didn't pay any attention to the fundamentals.
Right.
So this allows people to come in, get a basic fundamental understanding of what they're doing, and then build on top of that.
Correct.
And then capitalize it on.
I will say to reiterate what Nick was saying, we're going to have basically an overview of the day. We're going to have a warm-up, which is a shooting warm-up. We'll have 3 shooting drills, and then we'll have a lunch break, and then we'll have a stage to run. Just like we were talking about before we started all this, some of those stages may only be 4 or 5 minutes, and you can probably run that stage 4 or 5 times. Right? It doesn't just have to be I just get this one opportunity to do this. These are not going to be 14, 15-minute stages like something like you'd see at a regular tactical games. They're going to be a lot shorter in duration to where, maybe I'm going up and I'm working on this shooting position this time I do it. but it only takes 4 minutes. So I'm going to let somebody else go, and then I'm going to reset and go load my magazines back out, and I'm going to get back out there, and I'm going to do a different shooting position, and I'm going to figure out, was the second shooting position better or worse than the first?
And that time in between allows for coaching, it allows for a lot
There
of
you go.
interaction as well. So there's a lot of opportunity to improve. And at the end of the day, that's what we're all out here trying to do, right?
I
Just
will
get better.
say that the people that have come, and I'm tooting some horns here in Texas between my group and the San Antonio group, but man, we've seen a lot of improvement on folks because they don't just come out and do what they think is correct.
Yep.
They are coming out and doing what some of the top people in the sport are doing.
Yep.
Because we have some of the top people in the sport around at these things,
Yep.
helping coach and helping direct people. So guys, again, if you guys want to be a part of this, this is going to be one of the best programs of the year. I'm super excited about it. That's why I'm hyping it up. It's freaking awesome. So if you guys want to be a part of that, shoot me an email and we'll get you signed up.
I will say I moved to Texas and I got better at shooting. I think it's just something about if you want to get better at shooting, move to Texas.
That's part of it. You
That's
got
how
to
it
move
goes.
here.
Yep.
If you're from California, stay there.
So now something that you talked about having some of the best shooters leading some of these courses.
Yep.
Another thing that we want to talk about is some of the changes to the training program.
Yep.
So TTG.training is going through a transition right now. Those of you that are currently on the GRIT program or the complete program, what you're going to see is a merge between those two programs.
Yep.
Zach Forrest, who's been running the training program for the past year, is going to be transitioning to heading up all of our in-person training.
Like TGUs and stuff like
exactly.
that. Right? Okay.
So not training day, but the TGUs and
Correct.
athlete camp, those kind of things. He's going to be heading that up, emceeing that, and really taking charge of that. Jacob Hepner now is going to be taking over all of the virtual or online training activities. So some changes that are happening with Complete that are really, really exciting, where you're going to be bringing in Kalarina Key is going to be helping out with all the mobilization daily. For those of you that don't know, she is a chiropractor. She has been a chiropractor for a long time.
Long time.
She's also a super, super fit human and one of the most fit females I've ever met in my entire life,
Yes.
but also very knowledgeable, moves extremely well. So she's going to be able to help you guys through any impingements that you might have, really giving you programming to make sure that your body is prepped up for what you're about to do for Jacob's training programs.
If you don't follow her, she puts a lot of that stuff out on her stories and her page right now. Miss Notorious.
Miss Notorious,
is that right?
yeah,
Something like that.
Yep.
And I do some of her stuff here at the gym all the time.
Yep.
Because for those that don't know, I've had a couple back surgeries. And
Yeah.
so like I get really tight when I work out. And so I have to do those consistently.
And she's awesome at it. She's super
Yeah.
personable. The other person that's going to be helping out with that program is going to be Sal Hernandez. So Sal's actually going to be
that's
giving
cool.
the live fire and dry fire aspect
wow.
of that programming.
Oh,
So
nice.
Complete is going to be mobilization, exercise, and then a dry fire and live fire program. So like you've got three of the top competitors in this sport. Cal being one of the most fit girls out there for sure. Jacob obviously is the national champion from this year. Sal
Got third.
got third in the national championship, but also arguably is the best shooter in the sport.
I was going to say the amount of hardware that Sal has
It's very
is
respectable.
pretty respectable,
Yeah.
and I don't think that anybody can shake a stick at that.
Him and Austin kind of rival each other for best shot out there. I don't know. Like, yeah, Austin can shoot, man.
What do you think about that, Austin? What do you think about
What do you
that,
think?
Sal?
Yeah. Maybe a shoot off between
Maybe
those two.
we can do one of these live fire
maybe
challenges.
the live fire challenges.
Maybe that's what
are
this
a
is
good
for.
opportunity.
Hey, I'll start doing these live fire challenges for y'all because I know everybody's jumping down my throat about shooting and getting into this stuff. So I'll do these for y'all.
There
How's
you
that?
go. A couple of the other programs that we have that are kind of flying a little bit below the radar, but are also really important and good for different aspects. Maybe if you're not a competitor or never have any intention of competing in the tactical games, or maybe you just want to kind of hang out in that intermediate tactical division and want to like just be a fit human, but have a 9-to-5 that you have to worry about. You can't train 6 hours a day.
Correct.
Not that, we have the Shift program,
Yep,
which is
TTG Shift.
headed up by Justin Betancourt. Justin is active LEO, prior service military, definitely has the experience to lend to. Here's what you need to do to ensure your body can get through sitting in a squad car, wearing body armor every day, just the kind of general shit that people that live in that environment every single day, that work in that environment, need to do to
Sure.
keep their bodies healthy.
Sure.
We see a lot of people come in. We have a lot of law enforcement officers that work
lot.
out in this gym.
Yeah, a lot.
And they come in with psoas pain, hip pain, soreness in parts of the body that not a lot of other people necessarily have to deal with. So having somebody come from that background and tell you like, hey, here's what you need to strengthen, here's what you need to work on to be able to not deal with this pain every single day, I think that's going to be a huge benefit. And I think everybody using his program now is enjoying that.
The variety of that program isn't just like shove CrossFit down your throat, which
Correct.
I know that's not compete either.
Right.
I know we're not doing a ton of like squat snatch and overhead
Right.
like I know we're not doing handstand walks and stuff like that. But for those that want to do the shift program, it is definitely a different variation than what we have on compete or complete, and that's because it's for different types of people.
Yep.
Right.
And designed for little to no equipment as
Correct.
well, so he's got a ton of options in there.
Yeah.
The other one that we have is speed and agility. So Amanda Cherry's heading up the speed and agility programming. That's really designed for guys that are involved in the action sports shooting. The guys and gals that want to go out there and just kind of move really well. Strengthening tendons, really worrying about knee health, joint health. Getting you strong enough to be able to support your frame moving around on unstable ground.
Sure.
Like if you go to a range, it's not like, oh, this is beautiful, this is paved concrete that I get to shoot on. You're shooting in rocks and shit. You're running all over the place. So really preparing your body to be able to withstand that thing. Dave Hartman from the 3 Gun Show is going through it right now. He's loving it. He's been posting about it pretty rapidly. We've got there's quite a few people that are on that programming, and it's really, if you're competing in the tactical games, it's definitely something that you could do that would help you out. But this is really geared more towards shooting specific, almost like if there was like a 2-gun competition that we were planning to put on.
Are we doing that?
I don't know.
Something that's called maybe like a tactical 2-gun or tac 2-gun.
I don't know. We'll talk, I guess, we
might as well talk about it now. That's right. That's right. We're rolled up on it. So we've had this thing kind of in the works for probably, I don't know, I think it's been since about March 2021, maybe a little bit before that. We've thought about doing a 2-gun match and what it would be like to have a little bit of fitness before you do a 2-gun stage, or fitness inside of a 2-gun stage and what that might look like.
Relevant fitness to shooting 2-gun.
Correct. So like if me and Nick, let's use a better example. If Amanda and I were doing this together, the fitness portion, she should not just whip my ass at fitness, which she normally does. So like that's why we're using this example. So she shouldn't beat me so bad at the fitness that it affects the overall stage. The shooting should be what affects the stage.
There will be either like a barrier to entry that will get you to shooting to elevate the heart rate, similar to what you see in the Sniper Challenge.
Exactly what I was saying.
It's not going to be something that is like the tactical games where you're doing repetitions of something and then going and shooting and then doing repetitions. This is going to be more traditional, 2-gun style. You're going to be shooting fast, moving fast. And there's going to be an element of fitness that's involved into it. And it'll likely be done in a plate carrier. I think we'll probably have a division that doesn't have plate carriers like we do in Sniper Challenge. Just to get more people out. Obviously, we want as many people attending these matches as possible. We could put on the best match in the world, but if only 2 people show up, it doesn't matter. So we want to make sure that it's open for a bunch of people in the community to come.
So these are going to be 2-day matches. It'll be a Friday, Saturday match.
Saturday, Sunday match.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday.
It's the same, just different.
It's just the same. It's just a day later. It's not a big deal. Don't show up. I guess show up on Friday for check-in. But you don't need to show up Friday to shoot. I'm so sorry about that. Saturday, Sunday events. What else? Y'all be on the lookout for that, because I think that I'm going to go shoot those too.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to curse like that. But if you shot at Nationals, that 2-gun stage, like, I'm not getting the shit kicked out of me for 12 minutes. I can just go and shoot fast for
people
90
have a lot of
seconds,
fun.
Which I think was supposed to be like 45 seconds, but whatever.
It's all good.
The shooting out of the back of the van.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Neat. That was pretty cool.
That was fun. Yeah. Now, we've done that before. We've done it in previous matches. It gets sprinkled in here and there.
We shot out of the Humvee in Kansas.
We did. That was cool. Yeah. Derek brought his Humvee out. That was fun. So definitely check out the tactical 2-gun stuff. There will be more coming out on that as that ball gets rolling. So we're excited to have those going. We do have 2 more events that are going to be announced. One of them we kind of leaked out earlier in the podcast. That'll be the team event in West Virginia. The last one we talked about it will be in Nevada. We talked about it on the Facebook page, but we haven't announced the range yet. We're still working on our contract for that one, but pretty excited to be in that area. We're not heading back to Phoenix this year, but Nevada's not that far of a drive, and it's kind of more centrally located for people. We get a ton of people from California that want to compete. Jared's
We
made
got a lot of
stand.
people from Oregon too, so it's
Yeah.
a little bit closer to Oregon.
Well, we've got Utah for Oregon and Las Vegas. It's kind of a good central area where people can get to it relatively easily. And if you're
Sure.
not from that, Vegas is a cheap airport to fly into.
Sure. Yep.
And I think we've also talked internally about putting out some content out there about traveling with firearms.
We can do that.
Because it's something that people like. I'll tell you, I fly with guns all the time. It's something that I've just become used to. I've done it quite a bit, whether it's for competition or to get to our matches, whatever it might be. It's not as big of a pain in the ass as some people may think. So we'll put some content out on that soon, and then I think that'll alleviate some of the concerns. But Vegas is a cheap airport to fly into for anybody that wants to travel.
Oh, yeah.
And you can find lodging there cheap too.
Yeah,
so if you're
everything's good.
from out of town, that's a good one to go to.
Is it going to be actually in Vegas or in Reno or one of
It's
the
like
side?
45 minutes outside of the Las
Actual
Vegas,
city,
away
okay.
from the airport. Yeah,
Got it.
I forget the name of the town, but the range sounds really cool. And then last thing, let's touch on one thing. The schedule is mostly announced next
Mm-hmm.
year. Have you seen any matches that you're excited about? Anything that you saw that piqued your ears up on that schedule?
Well, the two team events was like, I don't mean you talked about that at length. That is really exciting for me. One, because the team events are just super awesome and super cool, and I think that's the most fun that any of us have had an event, because while it is serious and it is a for real competition, it's so much fun and it's
Yeah.
super laid back.
Yep.
I'm actually going to try to jump in one of those two
Nice.
this year. So maybe we'll figure out how to work that out. But
I'll do one. You can do the other one. How about that?
hands down, let's do it. Which we'll work that out after this, and we'll maybe post it in the notes. But I think that either one of the team events I'm pretty excited about. Let me think. I'm excited to go back to Meridian. I know it's fucking cold in Meridian, and it's like, I talked to them this week, and they were like, "Oh, one thing we can promise you is it's going to be cold and wet." I started cracking up, and I was like, "Well, that's obvious.
Every year.
Like every year, it's been cold and wet since I've been out there."
The first day is like that, and then the second day it seems to like get a little bit better.
Yeah, except for the year it was 2 years ago in 21. It was on my birthday. Both days were like 34 and raining. It was an awful weather weekend. It's a fun weekend, but it was an awful weather weekend. So I'm really excited to go back to Meridian. We got a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
Me and you and Jared have been working on the programming for that.
Yep.
It's already pretty much finalized. We got brand new stages, guys. Absolutely brand new stages. If you've been Meridian before and you're like, we're going to go in the tower, we're going to go in the tunnel, we're going to do that. Nope. No, you're not. I mean, you might, but you're not doing it how we used to do
Yeah.
it. And I know we've had that tunnel workout, like tunnel version 4. I mean, we've
Yeah.
done it 3 or 4 different times. You're not doing that one again, guys. It's going to be really cool. And I will just say this, and I'm just going to put a teaser out, and you guys can get over it. We're going to be using the pond in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we're going to tell you. We're
Yep.
going to be using the pond in some form or fashion. So
And you don't have to go in the pond. We'll say that. So don't bring a bathing suit. Nobody show up with their bathing suit.
man, I
No,
was
because
just
then
gonna
people
let
aren't going to
them-
sign up. They're gonna, I'm not swimming.
I wanted to see him out there in like the big old flapper flops and stuff.
No,
you know?
that's all. Jared Stevens shows up in a Speedo, and like I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, so you're not going to be getting in the water.
Yeah.
But maybe not. Maybe not. He said you're not swimming, so maybe you're waiting. I don't know. Just kidding.
I'm actually really, really stoked about the Whittington Center.
Oh, yeah. I actually didn't think about that.
33,000 square acres of shooting facility. Just
So-
for reference, I think the largest one that we went to last year was 1,500.
So the largest one that I know of Tactical Games has been to is Triple C, and that's 4,600 acres.
Yeah. Okay. So last year, I think it was ETTS, and that's about 1,500 acres.
Correct.
At least a property that he owns. So 33,000 square acres.
That's like government land.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
a lot.
It's either the largest or the second largest shooting facility in the world.
I'll
so
bet, man.
super stoked to be going out there. We looked at some of the range layouts yesterday, and there's one of the ranges that we're going to be going at has the ability to shoot out to 1,600 yards. We're not going to make you guys do that, but we will say that'll open up the programming for a lot of shooting. Expect that to be a very shooting heavy event. There's some comments about, it's going to be cold in New Mexico. Yes, it is.
Yes,
so
it'd be freezing. But
we're going to adjust the competition to suit the environment.
correct.
So,
Correct. Something else we've already talked about.
yeah, definitely one that you guys don't want to miss for sure.
No.
There's a lot of new ranges on the map as well. So we're pretty excited to be heading to a new one that we haven't been to yet, which is Peacemaker in West Virginia. That one's going to be really cool. those guys out there are really excited to have us out there.
I know one I'm actually looking forward to go back to is the New Hampshire event up in Dalton. Ridgeline.
Yep.
Little difficult to get to with the truck and trailer. I'll just go the opposite route this time that I went last time. But it's far, but it was the scenery out there, man. You're being kind of on the side of that mountain.
Yep.
And when you just look out to behind the ranges, so if you've never been, which, I guess a handful of us have been to that, but the background of that, like you're on the literal side of a mountain, and it's built into the side of a mountain. So when you turn around, you're literally looking 40 miles. I mean, you can see forever. You can see the earth turn at that point. So
if you believe in that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's flat. We all know that. So, but I'm super excited about Ridgeline. They have that O'Neill Rally School.
Yeah.
That's like 200 yards down the hill.
Rose sent me about 100 things like, hey, this is just like 100 or 10 miles down the road. We should probably look at.
Dude, it is part of the run. Last time we were there, it's 200 meters. I mean, literally, you exit the range, you go down the hill, 200 meters, you take a left into the school, and yes, y'all will be running in the rally school again. So for those, hey, I don't know who got lost last time, but it's supposed to be like a 3.5 mile run through that. And then some dude just didn't come back. And then, so his
rumor has it he's still
out. Yeah, rumor has it he's still on Mountain Road. But he texted me or called me. And I remember being like, where are you? And he's like, I'm on Mountain Road. I was like, oh my God. He ended up running like 6.5, 7 miles. He doubled his course.
At least it wasn't a week later. Like, this is a funny joke, guys. I've got to go to work on Monday.
Yeah. We're really looking forward to some events next year, or this coming up year, guys. So if you're on the ball or on the fence about any of this stuff, do it.
Yeah. There's a lot of new, a good mix of new and old. I will say that. Venues that we've been to many times that are tried and true. Like, we're sticking with the ones that have been good to us and that we really like and are good for competitions. I know there was some heartbreak over not going back to Oregon.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a commute for us. It was just it was a far drive. We're trying to hit the Midwest. As interest continues to grow in the Midwest, we'll expand out there a little bit.
Yes.
But a lot of our matches are really just based on where we get the most the most interaction from, where we see people that are shooting the style, that are interested. So the best thing that you can do is like get out to a training day that's in your local area. I know there's one in New York that's coming up, right?
Yes.
So that's a good, if that training day numbers start growing out there, we know that there's more interest out there. It gives us more of a drive to come out to those kind of areas. So same thing.
I guess we'll just touch on that, where all the training days are going to be.
We've got a couple. Let's get the list finalized, and then we'll definitely get that announced on the website.
They are pretty spread out, though, guys. It's not like they're all just down here in the state of Texas, which would be cool, but they're not. The first couple are like Virginia, New York, Texas, and Ohio.
Yep.
And then I think we're going to try to get a Utah and Arizona one started. Yep. So those are kind of like the first little bit. So if you're in those areas, like, get ready. It's going to come. We're coming.
I think you'll see that concept grow pretty rapidly.
Yeah.
Another thing that we haven't touched on yet, but will be announced soon, are going to be TGUs.
Yeah.
So we're going to have Tactical Games Universities pretty much every month starting in February, maybe in March. You're going to see if there's an event coming up in your town. So we'll use Peacemaker just because we were talking about that one. So I think that's Gerardstown, West Virginia. 2 months prior to that, it's going to be an August event. 2 months prior to that, we're going to have a TGU at that same range.
Okay.
So it's an opportunity for you to go out. If you're new to the sport, maybe you own a rifle and a pistol, you bought it last year and you don't know what the hell to do with it. Go out, go to a TGU. You're going to have expert instruction there. Our instructors that lead that course. I wish I would have taken that course before I ever started shooting. You've got people like Kirk and like Tess and like Sal and I'm Carla. I'm forgetting a ton of different names here, but there's a lot of incredible instructors in those courses. So definitely take the time. It's worth the investment. Go out there, spend 2 days with those guys and those girls, and really listen to them and absorb the years and years and years worth of knowledge. That
something that Jared's touched on before, guys, about all these particular instructors that we're talking about now is you can go to any CrossFit gym and learn how to do fitness, right? You can pay them $100 and they can teach you how to do whatever type of fitness you want, right? Especially the fitness that we do. It doesn't take but maybe a couple hours for you to learn the technique of how to do that, right? You're going to be this close to a world-class shooter, and everybody that we just mentioned is in that. Is in that level, right?
One of them literally went to the Olympics, right?
One of them literally is a world-class shooter, like quite literally, which is the reason why I use that term. So when you guys go to these TGUs and the athlete camp, make sure you bring a fresh notebook.
Yeah.
And get ready to write down the entire, like, you're going to take notes every day, and you're going to try to, your goal is to fill that notebook up. Because that's the amount of information that's given out on those things, and that's how valuable that information is.
Yep.
Is you're getting to be next to someone and learn from someone who has been doing this at the top of the game for over 2 or 3 decades, which is really hard to think about, right? Like I've been in the CrossFit space for just over a decade now, I think 12 years, right? We'll just use Tess. I mean, she's been at the top of the shooting sport for like 3 decades.
Yeah.
Right.
That's incredible.
That's absolutely phenomenal.
Think about the amount of knowledge that you can gain over a time like that. And she's also in the space too.
Correct.
So
she's
the amount
relative
of people
to what we're doing today.
Yep.
She's not just teaching what she learned for the Olympic program,
Right.
which also is relevant to what we do, just so everybody knows.
And her involvement in the space today,
Correct.
right? She was just at Prairie Fire. She was just, all over the place. I mean, Jared posted about it the other day. You're the sum total of the 5 people you hang out with, right?
Correct.
If you're out there and you're with Jerry Michalek and you're with, you're meeting all of these different people and involved with all these different people that are the cream of the crop in shooting.
Correct.
You're absorbing that knowledge.
Yes.
So Sal with TTPOA.
That's how
on the
me and Nick
SWAT
got so
roundup.
good at shooting, guys. We just hang out with Jared and Sal and Kirk all the time, and all of a sudden
watch
we're
other people
class
do it
shooters
really
too.
well.
It's a total lie,
Yeah.
by the way. Probably the worst 2 out there.
I got incrementally better this year, and it still wasn't good enough to break to where I wanted to be. So let's keep pushing that needle forward.
Well, at least you're competing right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we'll just. Well,
You got anything else you want to add for today's?
I think that's solid.
Yeah.
I think that was a good. I don't know where we're at on time, but I think that was a solid 20, 30, 40 minutes wherever we're at. There's a lot of stuff happening, guys. And if you guys haven't been able to see that during this or looking around the community, pay attention, because if you blink, you're going to miss it.
Yep.
Or you're going to miss the launch of it, where it'll be around for a while. But I'm just going over our little notes here, but you have Friday Night Lights and the physical challenges the last weekend of every month. You have the live fire challenges, which is the first 2 weekends of every month.
Yep.
And then you have the training days, which are going to be periodically. Like I know in Texas, we're going to hold 1 a month. So we'll hold 12 next year. But those are going to be all throughout the nation, and I believe they're all going to try to do 5 or 6. So about every other month, you'll have a training day somewhere close to you, hopefully.
And demand will help dictate how often
Correct.
you see them, too. Like, nobody in their right mind is going to have 30 people show up to their training day one month and then not put one on the next month or the next month. So you build upon that, and consistency will help build upon that. So if you want to see more things like this, get involved, go out there and do it. Contributions to companies that are directly related and people that are directly related to this sport is what's going to help the sport thrive, right? Let's keep the money in the sport if we can.
Yes.
Keep promoting people in the sport if you can. If you're not following the top 20 people in the sport, go out there and follow them, and then interact with other people that aren't the top 20 people in the sport, right? Like that community involvement and that talking between one another is really going to be helpful in getting things out there and growing what we're doing, which is at the end of the day, furthering the Second Amendment, ensuring that it lives on forever. That's really the drive behind
one
this.
thing before you say your little last thing here. I just want to say thank you to the community and all the competitors that have been in the community, because just like Nick was just saying, is we could have new folks shoot any one of you a message, or me, or Nick, shoot any one of you a message on Instagram. And for the new people, this is what we're telling you to go do, is go message somebody, because they will message you back, and they will give you all the information you need to know to help you be competitive, not just to I'll just give him this information so he'll show up. Like, people will take time out of their day and put down what they're doing to help you at this sport. And you don't find that in any
That's
sport,
the coolest part
especially
of the
not
sport.
any team sport.
Yeah.
But definitely not in golf, tennis, other individual sports. You don't see that. You don't see other competitors stopping what they're doing to help somebody that's brand new that is potentially going to beat them one day.
Yeah.
Right.
You're training your competitors.
Yeah. You're helping out your competitor beats you, but also what does that do? It makes you better, because now you're exposing your weaknesses that are going to so on and so forth. Right.
I don't think there's anybody in our community that doesn't want to win by beating everybody on their best day.
Correct.
I remember there was a time, it happened in Ohio this year.
Yep. I was just about to bring it up.
Hepner's gun went down.
Yep.
And Tim was getting the shit kicked out of him by Hepner all weekend. Tim had the opportunity to win in that, but it would have been a shallow win because he would have won because Hepner's gun went down.
Yes.
And Tim knew that, recognized that, and that was one of the coolest things that I've
Yes.
seen from our community was him coming up and saying, like, I didn't deserve that win. I didn't.
Correct.
Like, if I can't beat him at his best.
So what really happened is Tim came up to me right before awards and said, "Hey man, I don't know how it shakes out, but I didn't win." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "Yeah, I didn't win this weekend." So he's like, "I know what happened in the last event. I know he got like 1 or 2 rifle shots off out of like 48 or something. It was 4 rounds of 12, so it was a lot." He was like, "So I don't know how this is going to play out, but if I get first place, I'm not taking it." He was like, "I'm going to switch." I was like, "I get second." He's like, "I don't care how this works out, but
Yeah.
I'm going to get second." And I was like, "That's okay. Like if that's what it is." And so, yeah, that's how it worked
It
out.
was solid.
It was a really cool moment to see. But that's the type of people that we have in the sport.
Yeah.
And so if, one more time, reiterating it one last time, I'm just being a dead horse now. But if you're new and you have any questions over any of this stuff, if you don't feel comfortable asking any of us or putting it in the info at email, jump on Instagram. Ask one of the competitors in the Instagram. They will help you.
Yeah.
Right? That's how I started.
Yep.
I
Me too.
asked, to be honest with you, I asked Jared. I knew he was doing really well. I was supposed to go to the Meridian event in 2019. I ended up having back surgery that weekend and not doing it. And then in 2020, I vetted Meridian and talked to Jeremy Moore and Jared and a bunch of other people that were going to be there that weekend. And then that's how I got started.
Yeah.
So don't feel that just because you buy all this stuff and you don't know what to do and just be in a world of stress about it. I mean, just type up, I'm just going to pick on Zach. We can all hit up Thor.
Yeah. I mean, mine was Nate. Nate
Yeah.
Drum. Nate and Blair Drum are the reason
Yep.
that I'm competing in the sport. I heard about it.
Sal's really good at answering questions,
Yep.
y'all. I know he's answered several questions. Even this week, I've had people come up to me this week and be like, "Man, Sal really helped me out this week."
Hepner, just send Hepner messages.
yeah,
Every
just
one of
blow
you,
up.
just send Hepner a message.
Just send him a hug. Just send him one of those virtual
Yep, he
hugs
likes
from
the
us.
hug emojis.
Thank you.
Um,
Do it in person too when you see him.
Kirk is a good
Hug
one
him in
for
person.
sure. Kirk's definitely.
Kirk's
there's
probably
a
one of
ton
those knowledgeable
resources
people
out
that I know. Every time I talk to Kirk, I learn something new.
there. Yeah. All right. Cool. Good
So
podcast.
last, you have one thing.
I know. There's one thing that we're gonna. We have an announcement coming January 1st.
Not right now.
I know we've been talking about that. It's we're stoked about it. Hopefully
pretty
you guys
cool,
are
y'all.
gonna be stoked about it. It's a big new addition to our community and to
Yeah.
our sport and to the 2A space. So we're
Correct.
happy about that and happy to have all of you. So thank you all very much. Merry Christmas, and we'll talk to you all in the new year.
Yep.
Thanks,
Make
bye,
sure you guys share all this, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.